Welcome to week 2 of the Tailgate Talkers podcast, week 4 of the NFL. I'm Dane.
I'm Justin, and we got a great show for you. We talk about the week that was in the NFL, including weekly news. This covers the Tush Push controversy. We'll get into that, especially me as an Eagles fan. Giants making a quarterback change this week. I'm kind of glad they're not doing it against the Eagles. I don't want that unknown thing happening. 49ers, yeah, 49ers having more 49er injuries as they're used to. We talk about the 6-3-0 teams and the 6-0-3 teams. Also preview the week ahead. Me as an Eagles fan, we always talk about the Eagles game. Dane as a Packers fan, talk about their game. And then we pick another game that just seems like the juiciest of the week. And then, of course, we go into our fantasy bets, overachievers, underachievers of the week, and the start 'em and sit 'em, as well as how we did with the start 'em and sit 'em last week. I kind of went into that and looked at the stats and everything. It was
so good.
It was a mixed bag. But yeah, so you want to go into the game reviews? You want to start with my game or your game?
Let's just jump into the Eagles Rams.
All right. Well, first the pick standings. So I went 2-1 last week. Dane went 1-2. We both had the Packers. I don't remember if we had them covering or what. We had the Packers winning, so they didn't win. So therefore, yeah. I had the Eagles covering, which we'll talk about that. Thank you, Jordan Davis. And then we both had the Lions covering, although we did think the Ravens would win.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, so Eagles and Rams. I was texting Dane throughout this game, and let's just say I was absolutely livid the first 2.5 quarters.
Yeah. Eagles are outplayed 2.5 quarters of the football game.
It's ridiculous. Like, the defense was all right because the Rams have a prolific offense. You add Devontae Adams to Puka Nacua and Williams, the running back. Williams, right?
Kyron
Williams. Yeah. And Matthew Stafford playing great. You got the Sean McVay offense. They're going to score points, and the fact that the Eagles were able to limit them and kind of keep them to field goals was freaking huge. Because if any one of those was a touchdown, the Eagles likely don't win this game. So I think the defense kind of kept the game alive for us for the most part. I'm not mad at the way they play. So much so, there was a little bit of bleeding in the run game, which is very unusual.
Yeah, in the first half especially. Yeah, the Rams ran the ball really effectively first 2 quarters. I think they had 160 yards rushing, and I think about 150 of that came in the first 2 quarters, which is pretty absurd because the Eagles have a really talented defensive line.
I mean, I'm on record to think the Eagles right now, it's at least arguable. You can at least make the argument they have the best defensive tackles in the game.
Yeah.
The way Jordan Davis is playing now.
Jalen Carter's a monster.
Yeah, but Jordan Davis, if you just watched the Eagles this season, Jordan Davis has been the best defensive tackle on the team so far.
Yeah, I agree so far. 3 weeks.
But we know what Carter's capable of doing. So it's the fact that they were able to run on us was worrisome. Because when I watch these, at least early on in the first quarter, I always watch the line play. Like, that kind of tells me how this game's going to go. And the Rams were owning both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
The Eagles' offense came out, again, this stupid, predictable play calling where if the Eagles are in pistol, they're going to run it. And they're going to run it inside on an inside zone on first down all the time. It's like high 90%. It's ridiculous. Yeah. There's no passes going downfield. You have freaking A.J. Brown just running these very, very short ins and short slants. And it's so predictable. Everyone's like, well, Saquon Barkley's not the same person. He's the same person. It's just he has nowhere to go. Matter of fact, that 4-yard run in I think the third or fourth quarter was very underrated up by the goal line, spinning away and getting that first down, which was huge. But I was just livid. I am so over this offensive coordinator, guys. And then I feel like they only open it up because now they have to. Like, what are we gonna do now? I mean, we have to. I feel like I don't know if it's because they got Saquon Barkley and they feel like they just have to run through him 24/7, just repeat from last year. Teams, defenses aren't just going to let you do what you did last year. You have to adapt. You just can't do, rinse, copy, or rinse, whatever the fucking shampoo.
Recycle, repeat.
Yeah, whatever. You just can't keep doing the same shit over and over and over again. Just repeat from last year. You got to evolve. And it wasn't, I feel like, until they realized, they absolutely have to freaking change. They have to, start throwing the ball downfield, that they actually did something. And you saw, it was 3 touchdowns and 200 yards. Because, by the way, Jalen Hurts, -1 yards net passing. There was people on bye weeks that had more passing yards than Jalen Hurts in the first half. Like,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous. And then to finish with 220 and 3 touchdowns and another touchdown run, like, that was all when we decided to freaking do something. Like, I understand the Eagles have this thing where it's like we're so good that if we just don't turn the ball over, we don't make the mistakes, and we don't lose it for ourselves, we'll win the game. And that can work if you go up against like a freaking Tennessee Titans or Carolina Panthers or a struggling Chiefs team with no offense. When you go against these high teams like the Rams that are gonna freaking score points even against your good defense, you have to freaking be a little bit more risky in your play calling, throw downfield. And I'm hoping, and even Jalen Hurts said, we did this to ourselves. We feel like we play more not to lose the game rather than to win the game. AJ Brown, as you would expect, was very vocal about like this is how we should be playing. And when you look at the weapons they have, like, my God, dude,
Yep.
even Dotson, who I think is a very underrated third receiver, and Dallas Goedert, who's one of the better tight ends. Like, you have all this talent. One of the things that also changed is they got Matt Pryor, that right guard, right tackle when Lane Johnson went down, the hell out of there. He's the one that got Jalen Hurts killed on that fumble. They went to why can't I remember his name? I can't remember. Fred Johnson, I think his name is. And he held it down, and from then we were golden. But good Lord, sorry, I rambled. You go.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the games of the day. Tale of two halves, I'd say. First half just dominated by LA. I think teams right now playing the Eagles, I think they've realized that the dominance of the Eagles run game, and so they're selling out to keep Saquon Barkley from running for 250 yards. And so they're pretty much their recipe for beating the Eagles right now is let's load the box and let's try to make Jalen Hurts beat us. And the issue through 3 weeks so far has been that the Eagles offense, like Drew Brees said, is boring. And that's just the truth. It's stale. And like Justin said, there needs to be some kind of creativity, sometime some kind of ability to maybe scheme in some shot plays or some kind of explosive play down the field that makes other defenses have to respect the pass game of the Eagles. And there's no doubt about it. Those two wide receivers have to be one of the best, if not the best duo in the NFL. And you saw that, it was, front and center in that second half. AJ Brown dominated. And Devontae Smith he's a very, he's an amazing number two.
All
And
170 pounds of them.
yeah, so it's just, it doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't scheme up some shot plays so that way teams have to respect the pass and then Saquon Barkley can get going on the ground. I mean, it's called offensive balance, and it doesn't make sense to me why you have all this star power to only use half of it and to be so one-dimensional where you give the defense an out every single play. And so I think what happened in that first half is I think the Rams were selling out against the run, and the Eagles couldn't run the football.
It's like
Saquon
playing
was
offense in a phone booth. Everything's
Saquon,
so congested.
yeah,
Like,
Saquon was so bottled up. And on the other side of the football, I will say the defense hung in there first half. They held the Rams to field goals, and that's what kept them in the football game, truthfully, because it would have been very ugly had the Rams scored a few more touchdowns in that first half. It would have been over. And so good job by the Eagles defense. And so I think that's part of what makes a well-rounded team as well, as when the offense is struggling, the defense picks up the slack. And so, but through 2.5 quarters, it was looking pretty bad for the Eagles, and then it turned around, and I got to hand it to the passing attack. Once you get AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, going in that pass game, I mean, you have a guy like AJ Brown, like a 50-50 ball is not a 50-50 ball. It's a 70-30 ball. He's a cheat code, and so
Can I make can I make a hot take?
Sure.
You're gonna probably disagree with this, but I truly, fully believe it. I think AJ Brown is the best receiver in the NFL, but that doesn't get a chance to show it. I think he's better than Jamar Chase.
I think he's a different receiver. I think
true.
Jamar Chase, he's the guy that he can take a slant 80 yards to the house. I think AJ Brown's a guy in the red zone that he's probably the best red zone weapon in the NFL, I would say.
So to Drew Brees, buddy, guy, I will admit, if what you're looking at for the Eagles offense through the whole season, through last year's season, through whatever, because I'm assuming he's talking more than just this season. I'm assuming. I could be wrong. If it was just this 2.5 quarters, yes, that was. It's kind of actually impressive to have -1 yards net passing. It's just you don't see that. But since Jalen Hurts took over in 2021, because I'm going to go, we've had different offensive coordinators. We had Kellen Moore, but it's kind of somewhat kind of been the same for the most part. Little tinkering here and there. Um, the Eagles are second most in touchdowns. They're third most in explosive plays, which is 20 plus yards or more, and they're second in winning percentage. To me, that's not boring. Um, when you start thinking boring, you remind me of the Patriots dynasty. That was usually nothing flashy for the most part. It was just sometimes dink and dunk, whatever here or there, but they would beat you. They would find a way to beat you. Last year, let's just look at last year's Chief. I know they got destroyed in the Super Bowl, but they got to the Super Bowl and it was boring. But they would make the play that would beat you. There's just something to it. There's like the weird aura to winning that I truly believed. Hell, I believed before the Eagles became this thing. Like I truly believe there's just a certain thing to winning. Jalen Hurts on the sideline yelling at. Do you see that video of that?
Mm-mm.
Yelling at his offensive coordinator, and this right afterwards, this happened. Eagles fans are saying, "Well, Jalen Hurts just called the plays." I don't think he called the plays. He might have checked to plays at the line of scrimmage and stuff like that, like checked out of a run into a pass or whatever, what have you. I don't think he called the plays. I just think like, dude, take the fucking handcuffs cuffs off because we got no other freaking choice, like and he came through at least for one half. He came through.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good quarter and a half.
And me and him, we always talk about like Jalen Hurts, top 10 quarterback, whatever. Like I'm gonna get into.
We definitely have disagreements on that, but which I think we went over a little bit last week. But
a little bit.
I will say too, like it's part of a team win, and I was looking at listening to this podcast earlier this week, and like we got to talk about 2 blocked field goals. I mean, the chances of that 1 in 1,000.
I got a stat for you. This is weird. This is really weird, and you can fact check me on this. It was 50 years to the day the last time the Eagles had 2 blocked field goals.
I mean,
that's ridiculous.
So there was another stat that said that so NFL wide 5 blocked field goals over the weekend, and that has never happened since they've been recording blocked field goals. Never happened in a week in the NFL.
Wasn't there one in your game too?
Sure was.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up that. But like there was one against
it was a rough week at the office.
There was one against the Bucs, and I'm sitting here thinking because the Eagles play the Bucs next week, and I'm like, damn, that's gonna be
and
weird.
They housed that one too.
I thought the Bucs were gonna lose off that. I was like, that's gonna be weird that the Bucs lose on getting their field goal blocked, and we win blocked. Like that'd have been weird.
Just crazy. Crazy week.
Real quick before we go on, because I don't want to spend too much on the Eagles, but there's a point where we gotta start thinking about Jalen Hurts as far as winning and everything else. Like you realize he has the 5th best win percentage since 1970 with 30 plus pass attempts. So I started thinking because I know last time they do all this stuff, they run with Barkley. Hurts is not asked to do this much. This is responding to Cam Newton. So I'm like, what's a good thing to look up as far as being asked to do stuff? So I'm like, well, let's go 30 plus pass attempts. He has the 5th best winning percentage with 30 plus pass attempts. He trails Mahomes, Brady, Montana, and Peyton Manning. He's also got the 3rd best record since 1950, minimum of 15 games, when trailing by 10 plus points. He trails Mahomes and Otto Graham. Like at some point, give the man his due. Sorry, I had to get those in there. Anyway, you want to go to the Packers?
Yeah, let's go to the Packers.
All right, I'm going to let you vent.
Just so you guys know, the Jalen Hurts cherry-picking stats will continue.
They will.
Yeah, rough week at the office for the Packers. I guess first, reactions to that. Watched that game, of course, on Sunday. Just a brutal, slug it out, very AFC North style game. A game that I think the Packers really played the right way until the end of the game. I think that Cleveland defense may be the best defense in the NFL. It's just that defensive line was getting after Jordan Love all day. We could not run the football.
I'm so sorry. Did you see what I put in the?
I did see the Myles Garrett with 3 Packers trying to.
Sorry.
That guy's dominant. There's no doubt about it. He's a game changer. And but really, the line of scrimmage was dominated by the Cleveland Browns. There's no doubt about that. When you lose the battle up front, it's just hard to get anything going. And I think really until the 4th quarter, Jordan Love, he threw a bad interception, bad decision, and then of course, the blocked field goal. Those were literally the two mistakes that changed the whole game. The other part too is I just kept waiting all game for Joe Flacco to throw an interception. He's just he's notorious for that, and I kept waiting. I said, you know what? We just got to be patient. Got to be patient. He's gonna make a mistake. It's gonna happen. And I swear, there were probably three different balls we probably should have picked off, and just for whatever reason didn't go our way. And so I mean, honestly though, like you got to give the Browns their due. They played a good football game. That defense is real. They're going to play through that defense. I think the other part too is I think the running back Quinshon Judkins. I think he's going to be he's an up and comer. He's going to be a stud for them. So I think if they play through that defense in their run game, I think they're going to be a real pain in the butt. I'm definitely not saying playoffs, but I think that team's going to be a real pain in the butt, and I think that they're going to definitely upset a few teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. Would you say at least this game, like, because the Packers have, like, we talked about them possibly being at least through the first 2 weeks of the season, about them being the best team in the league. And look,
Yeah.
it's super freaking early. Like, the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year, and they got beat by the Falcons, shellacked by the Bucs.
Yeah.
Things happen.
I think it's a trap game.
Would you say, yeah? Would you say that? Well, they could be looking ahead to this week.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons going back to Dallas, but would you say it's at the point where it's like, look, Love, just don't fuck it up?
Yeah, I think in a way. I think he had really when you look at the Packers' offensive strategy so far, 3 weeks into the year, it really hasn't been a high volume of throws from Jordan Love. They've been playing to that run game, and they've really like a lot of it's been chunk plays. Like they're not just looking for 5, 10 yards down the field. When Jordan Love, a lot of it's play action based. When he drops back, he's looking for 20 or 30. And so the passing attack's been effective because of that. The hard part, though, against the Browns is we never got the run game going, and so there was never that threat of play action. They're beating us on, in the runs. We need to load the box. There was never that kind of threat on Sunday, and so
I feel like it's a little bit of like the Eagles need to do a little bit of Packers, look deep, like look for chunk plays. The
Yep.
Packers need to do a little bit of
Yeah,
Eagles.
exactly.
Every now and then.
I agree. I think there's definitely some of that. I think there's needs to be a little more surgicality with Jordan Love, and he did make a few really good throws on Sunday. But I just think when you play a team like the Browns, it's going to be a low-scoring game, and one or two mistakes could be the difference. I think that's how they want to play. That's their style, and I think they have to play that way because the Browns don't have the firepower to keep up with probably 80% of NFL teams, and so really that's the way they're going to play. And so you have to kind of match that, and then just you have to not make the big mistake that's going to change the game. And unfortunately, the Packers made two big whoopsies in the fourth quarter to lose that football game. So I think the Packers lost that game, I'd say, more than the Browns won. It was just an ugly, honestly, not that much fun of a game to watch. It was just
You're gonna have a couple of those
just
throughout the season. I
nasty.
guarantee, like the Lions, as explosive as they are, will
Yes.
have a game or two like that. It just happened. And the Browns are a team that's how they have to win. They have to force
Exactly.
those type of games.
Yep. I want it to be ugly.
I told you in the last podcast I would give you shit all if the Packers lost. I'm not going to do that because I started thinking about it. Like, how can you do that when you pick them to win too?
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't work that way. So, but I will ask you, Micah with 1.5 sacks, 3 solo tackles through 3 games. Well, you could probably say 2.5 games because the first game they probably didn't use him that much. Worth the $188 million.
I think
right
so.
now?
I mean, I think if you look at that, I think the best game he's played so far was week 2 against the Commanders. I think he was all over the field chasing Jaden Daniels, double teamed pretty much the whole game, and pressuring him. Like Jaden Daniels never felt comfortable in the pocket, and he never got loose. So I mean, that's not just to Micah Parsons' credit. It's the whole D line.
But there's that thing like he might not be the one that made the play, but because of his presence, someone else can make the play.
Rashawn Gary, now he's one-on-one. He used to be the guy that they'd chip on our defensive line. Now he's one-on-one, and he's super talented. And so I think Micah's not the only one that'll benefit. I think our secondary benefits because they got to throw the ball faster. And guys like Rashawn Gary and other people on the D-line, Luke Vaness, they certainly are going to be helped out by his presence. So it's a game changer. I think I will say when you have a guy like Myles Garrett and Mike Parsons going up against one another, it just shows how great Myles Garrett is because he was absolutely the most dominant player on that field.
And
on
that
Sunday.
defense is going to give a lot of people fits.
Yeah.
So really, you're just asking Love in that offense, just like you score like 24, you'll probably win a lot of
Yeah.
games.
Oh,
Like you
yeah.
don't, yeah. So I mean, I mean, the Lions look really good, but you already got one win over them. So like you're in
Yeah.
a really good spot.
Yeah, and that's week 1
Yeah.
too. You know, it's so hard to know. The Lions, they may have just come out rusty because, I mean,
But you still got that one win over them.
I
Like
guess
that's
we can get
huge.
into this next game on Monday night, but goodness, I don't know if you want to
Good,
start on that one,
good
but
segue.
sheesh.
So we both picked the Ravens to win. Uh, that was looking possible, like maybe when there was 21-21, and then it just went to shit.
It
Derrick
was
Henry
punch for punch until maybe the fourth quarter.
Derrick
Truthfully.
Henry fumbled again.
Yep.
That running game, dude, or for the Lions. Look, how much do you think the Ravens, miss Pro Bowl Namdi? How do you say his last name?
Um,
Fuck.
uh,
The defensive tackle.
yeah, I know you're talking about. He was injured.
Yeah.
Maguba, or no, not what the heck is his name? I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
The defensive tackle. Yeah.
And then the outside linebacker Calvin Noy.
Calvin
Like
Noy,
missing
yeah.
those guys, like that had to have done.
That was big, but also they got rushed on for 230 yards. Like that's not just two guys. Like that's embarrassing.
I was playing against Morgan in fantasy, and he had Gibbs. I'm so glad that was mostly Montgomery that did the damage.
Yeah. I think this is what really impressed me about the Detroit Lions. To bully the Baltimore Ravens, which have always been, well, really the last 10 years have been considered one of the most physical teams in the NFL. To bully the Baltimore Ravens on the ground at their house is so impressive. And I think it reflects a lot on the soul and the spirit of that team. But it also reflects on the Baltimore Ravens and the fact that, like, in the biggest moments, their star players don't always show up. For example, in this game, and really the first 3 games, Derrick Henry, outside of week 1, he had a great game. He did fumble in week 1, but he's had fumbles in critical moments in these football games. And to Lamar's credit, I think Lamar played a pretty clean game. I think,
Yeah,
truthfully,
he took a couple
he
sacks
got
that
sacked
was all
7
on him, dude.
times. But if you watch that football game, these are coverage sacks. Like, he's not putting the ball in harm's way. He's looking downfield, and he's even, like, there were several times where he was looking behind him trying to see
Throw it away, bro.
like which rusher was going to come and sack him, because he's trying to make a play down the field to try to keep up with the Lions offense. So I think Lamar played a pretty clean game, but I just think the Lions were just far and away the more physical football team on that field Monday night.
I don't think Derrick Henry's fumble cost him the game. I don't think, even if he didn't fumble, I still think they probably lose the game. But man,
It's
that's
just that
another
he fumbled
fumble.
in the
Yeah,
red zone. That was
yeah.
the thing. Fumbled in the red zone. That's automatic points for the
And
Lions.
then
And that was a chance for the Ravens to finally
Lamar
take the
fumbled
lead.
too, right?
I
I think he fumbled around the goal line or something like that. He lost the ball. I think they stopped him and they scored right back. But yeah, man. As being an Eagles fan, hell, probably even you being a Packers fan. I mean, we're not even looking at our division. Well, in this case, it affects your division. But I'm just looking at like long game. And I'm like, I want the Lions to lose. Let's let the Lions lose. I know they all slobber over Lamar, and I get tired of hearing it. Blah blah blah. But at the same time, like the greater evil is the Lions winning for me.
Yeah. They're a contender in the NFC. There's no doubt about that.
I'm
The
going
loss
to-
of the 2 coordinators is not going to hurt their
Yeah,
chances. I don't
John
think.
Morton, is that how you say it?
John Morton,
Yeah.
new OC.
See, they don't appear to be missing Ben Johnson right now. We'll see. We'll see how going forward. Get into some weekly news.
Weekly news, yeah.
All right, the Tush push. You want to start off this one so I can
Sure.
rebuttal? Okay.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I just think I mean, I have no, I guess to give you some context, I have no problem with the Tush push.
Your team does.
Well, sure the Packers do, but I personally don't have any issue. I think it's one of these plays that, like, just because a play works really well and you can't stop it doesn't mean you should outlaw it. I think the Eagles are really good at it because, Jalen Hurts scores, squats 600 pounds. You got an O-line that's super talented. And really, other teams in the league have tried to copycat it, and they can't do it as well. Now, where I will say, this season especially, really, there's been some poor refereeing, I think, with some of the false starts. Because, of course, you can't have the guards getting off before the defense and getting a head start. Like, I think the NFL, they need to watch that more
I
closely
don't know how
too.
you officiate that because when they don't slow it down and it's live, I can't tell.
Yeah,
If
it's
you didn't
so
tell
hard to
me.
tell. I don't know if the refs need to get up on the line with the with the teams with during the tush push, but it's definitely it's an obvious advantage. So I mean, I think the NFL has to take a closer look at that for sure, and perhaps they will because it's been well documented over the first 2 weeks, this stuff going on. But because I think it can be really game changing when you have goal line stands and you're on the 1 yard line. I mean, I mean, I guess going back to the Ravens Lions game, you saw the Lions stop the Ravens on the 1 yard line for 4 plays. And that was one of the key parts of the game that
hmm
changed the whole momentum of the game was the Ravens getting stopped on the 1 yard line with Derrick Henry in their lineup. And so it just little things like that make a really big difference because this margins are just so slim in the NFL. And so I mean that's my only qualm against it. I don't have any problem with the tush push, but I think it does need to be like I think the refs need to be on top of false starts.
So, my take on it is I wish other teams were doing it and doing it successfully because if that was the case, I would be so much better with the NFL banning the play. I actually, part of me wants the NFL to ban the play because I'm sick and tired of hearing it. I'm sick and like really, part of me wants them to ban the play, but I don't want them to ban the play because one team does it so successfully. That looks so anti-Eagles to me.
I think it's just
So
anti-competitive
yeah,
sports,
so like
truthfully.
I don't want them to ban it because the Eagles are the only one to do it good, but I want them to ban it. So in order for that to be the case and for me to get what I want, other teams need to start doing it effectively. Okay,
The
so that we
Bills
can
did
ban
it
it.
okay until the playoffs last year.
As far as the officiating thing, look, the NFL clearly has an agenda. They want the NFL. They want it banned. Roger Goodell wants it banned. Most of the people want it banned. I think the whole reason why the Packers were the team that did it is because they don't have that one owner. So there's nobody to finger point and be like,
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
yeah,
I think they were just doing, yeah, we'll be the one. Sure, we'll put in the proposal.
yeah. It's fair.
And so they want it. So now it was what they go safety concerns. Other than Lane Johnson getting a stinger in his neck, there's been no data to support that it's the high speed collisions that are the danger. There's been
Yeah,
no data to support this. So you're
injuries. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. I
So you're
agree.
just bringing it up just for the hell of it, even though there's no data. Then they talk about well the aesthetics of the play. It looks. I know there's a push. That's the difference, but it looks aesthetically the exact same as a freaking QB sneak, which Tom Brady has perfected before. Like it looks the same. Like just aesthetically. I know there's a push added to it, but aesthetically it looks the same as a QB sneak. Where was all the bitching before that? The Eagles
Yeah,
typically now against the Chiefs, I think we did it like 6 or 7 times. It was crazy, but usually we do it anywhere from 1 to 3 times a game.
yeah,
Usually.
yeah.
Um, and now, so they go from those two things to now they're sitting there saying, well, it can't be officiated properly. And yes, there was 2 times, once against the Chiefs and once against the Rams, where there was false starts. Absolutely, when you slow it way the fuck down. When you look at it live, I actually think it's pretty damn good skill that you got off that freaking like Lane Johnson. People say that he gets false starts all the time, but he's
Mhm.
so good at just like, and it might be if you slow it way down, he probably is just, but he's so good at it. It's ridiculous. Like so, I mean, I guess technically it's against the rules, but it's
Yeah.
almost like you got to tip your hat too, because it's like, well, damn,
Well, I mean, I guess the offense does know when the snap count's going to hit
true.
before the defense, so they have that
So I
advantage.
mean, yeah, try to make it more. We're talking a split second because they have to slow it down for you to really see it.
Yeah.
But what the NFL is not saying, what Jason Kelsey on his podcast said, and other people, is that look at how many times the defense is in the neutral zone with their hands over the
Yeah.
ball. Like if it goes both ways,
Yeah. It has to be better officiated. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. So
But yeah, as far as the tush push, I don't want them to ban it now, but at the same time, I will appreciate life when it is banned because it's like, oh, I'm so tired of hearing it.
yeah, I mean, I think it's an advantage for the Eagles though. So
And I almost think
certainly.
it's at a disadvantage in a way because the Eagles know it, so they play more the small ball style just to get
Yeah,
into it. Where
it's
it's
true.
like, open it
If
up,
they get in
man.
4th and 1, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
All right. So the Giants are starting a new quarterback this week,
yeah,
Jackson Dart. What do you think
yeah.
about that?
I think it's gonna be well. Okay, I have a few thoughts on this. I think it's gonna be an upgrade over Russell Wilson. Really do. I think it's gonna make the Giants a more dynamic offense. It's just, I mean, what do you like about Russell Wilson over the first 2 weeks? I mean, and
When he's not playing against the Cowboys.
unless it's man coverage and he can throw a moon ball, there's really nothing there. what I don't understand is the Giants are making QB design runs with what 45-year-old Russell Wilson, and he can't throw into tight windows. He can't make surgical plays. It's literally if it's not one on one and it's not a jump ball, Russell Wilson can't run an offense. And so I think a guy like Jackson Dart, who's young, full of energy, super athletic, you saw the way he ran in the preseason, really, really, really impressive. I think he's going to energize that offense. Now, what I do worry is against the Chargers in week 4. Chargers have a solid defense. I think that's going to be a really tough matchup. Now, I don't think the Chargers D line is, I don't think they're world beaters, so maybe he has a little bit of time to throw. But my other thought is, I think this is the last straw for Brian Daboll and Joe
Yeah.
Shane. I think this is the last card they have in their hand, their last chance to save their jobs.
Do you think that's why
And
it took so long? Because
yes,
they know that if
yes,
he
they're
fails,
buying
they're
time.
screwed. Yeah.
They're buying time. And I think the reason they didn't start him at the beginning of the season is because they wanted to have that card in their hand in case things went poorly. And they did start 0-3. And here we are. And I just think like I don't know. And I guess the other part of this equation is Russell Wilson. I don't know where Russell Wilson goes from here. I think this could be his last year. I just don't think.
At least as a starter.
But the problem is with Russell Wilson. He's such a big personality. How can you have him in your locker room as a backup? There's this whole media following. He thinks he's Mr. Unlimited. He's married to a superstar singer. It's just like it's Hollywood anywhere where Russell Wilson goes. So anytime you have him sitting behind your starting quarterback, it's going to be like, oh, well, Russell Wilson's there. Like, oh, like he's breathing down his neck. He's doing, you know, leg kicks or like knee highs on the plane on the way to the next football game. It's just it's a rodeo. And so
Hmm.
I just wonder, guys like that, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Cam Newton. Cam Newton was a great quarterback in the NFL, but once he was past his prime, nobody wanted to sign him because he was too big of an icon to be a backup in the NFL. It doesn't mean he didn't have the talent to be a backup. He most certainly did.
Hmm.
The problem was he's just such a big presence in the locker room. It was going to mess with all of the team chemistry. And so I just think that's kind of one of the downsides of having a guy like Russell Wilson is, it's hard to build good chemistry in a locker room when you have such a big icon. And I just think his skills are limited. Part of it is just age, and I think part of it too is just I think he got exposed when came out of Seattle with Pete Carroll. I think he got exposed in Sean Payton's offense, and Sean Payton showed the world that what this dude's pretty one dimensional. So I think it's going to be a good thing for the Giants. I mean, I don't know if it's a great thing for Jackson Dart,
Yeah.
truthfully,
Yeah.
but I think it could be a good thing for the Giants to give him a little jolt of energy at least here in Week 4. So
Yeah. I mean, as an Eagles fan, I think we play him in like 2 weeks or something. My first preference would have been I rather would have faced Russell Wilson. My second preference though is like, okay, get him in here. Because I wouldn't want it to be the first start against because you literally don't know what's coming.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, because they're going to open up the offense, I think, a little bit.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have no idea what the heck's coming if you're the Chargers. So,
Here's
um,
another question: do you think that a team trades for Russell Wilson?
no,
No,
I mean,
like
who?
say the Bengals. Think the Bengals think that's an upgrade over Jake Browning?
What Russell Wilson has shown? No, I mean, if he plays every week against the Cowboys, I mean,
Yeah,
he's
I
good.
agree. I
But
don't think he's a huge upgrade over even most
yeah,
backups.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I don't got much to add to it, mostly because we haven't really seen Jackson Dart other than like a play here or there, which I freaking hate when offenses do that. I used to hate when the Eagles signed Vic. I think in 2009, Vic would come in, spell McNabb for like a play, and I always thought that was the stupidest thing because you just ruin the cohesiveness of the offense and everything else. Um, so I don't know much about what Jackson Dart can or will do,
Yeah,
or what
yeah,
the offense is going to be. My whole take is like I'm glad I get a couple weeks of film on him before the Eagles take him at least.
yeah.
All right, so 49ers continue to 49er, and now we have Bosa out for the season.
Yeah. Just, I mean, gosh, dude is paid so well too, and
Dude, the
he's
Niners, I'm sorry, the Niners, like, it's just not like B and C players that get injured for them. It's always like their
yeah,
star players.
yeah. I don't know if I don't know if it's an organizational issue with them. Like it's insane. You think CMC, you think Kittle, you think, um, gosh, where do I even go? Juwan Jennings. I mean,
I think
a little bit of it's bad luck too,
I think they make the
But
playoffs, but I don't look at them as any sort of like. I look at them kind of almost like a Tampa Bay of last year. You
They're
get
I
in,
think
you
they're a
might
week one
lose.
exit,
Yeah,
or I'm sorry, round one
yeah.
exit.
I,
Yeah,
I, I look at them like they'll be a scrappy team here and there,
yeah,
kind of just pester you. But like at the end of the day, like they'll get in the playoffs, but I think they'll be out first round. I mean, they just don't got the Jimmies and Joes
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
They used to be stacked. Like everyone talks about
They're a little bit of a
plug.
rebuild, semi-rebuild, I'd say.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
just all right. That was easy. So we have 6 3-0 teams. We have the Eagles, Bills, Chargers, Bucks, Colts, and 49ers.
who do you think's most inspiring, least inspiring of those 3-0
All right, I'll
teams?
go with that. You go. What's your most inspiring? I think I know
I
where you're
think
gonna
most
go.
convincing for me, um, I think Chargers, and I'd say okay. I guess I'd have three. I'd say Chargers, Colts, Bucks,
Oh, you heard.
and the reason why is because I think the Colts are highly overperforming what their preseason expectations. I know I certainly didn't have the Colts as a playoff team, and I definitely think they're going to be a real pain in the butt, if not a contender. Um, I think the Chargers have really shown a special ability to win close games against good teams. I think the Broncos game was really impressive. And I think Justin Herbert has gotten such a bad reputation for losing close games and not being able to pull
He's
it out in the
doing
fourth
much better.
quarter. And he's having a really, really great season. Definitely I'd say probably the best start of his career. Like, given we're
As
only 3 weeks
as
in,
stupid as this is to say, after 3 weeks of the regular season, he's an MVP candidate right now. Yeah.
yeah, no doubt.
Mhm.
And I think that Greg Roman offense is really a lot more pass heavy than anyone thought because of Harbaugh and Harbaugh's history of just loving to run the football. And so I think Justin Herbert's really showing off, and I think that he has the defense and some of the weapons to complement him this year. And so I'd say that's inspiring. I think Bucks also have been showing the ability to win close games and win in different ways too. I think their defense is really good. I think I just love Baker Mayfield, man. I love the competitor and just he's just a dog. He wants to fight, and he's just the emotional leader of that football team. And so I love too that he takes things so personally. I think he really gets into it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of kind of the way that Brady would play a game in his head of, oh well, this team doesn't believe in me. They don't think I can do
He'll use
this.
anything for motivation.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I think I think it's cool. I think it's neat to see that passion come out from him. And then lastly I guess I covered Bucks, Colts, Chargers. So yeah, those would be my three. I guess I'd say. And then the most underwhelming,
Not the defending champs.
I'm gonna have to go Eagles, 49ers. I think 49ers, the three teams they've played so far. I mean, gosh, Arizona Cardinals. I mean, what's so inspiring about the Arizona Cardinals? And they barely beat them. I think the 49ers, one of the reasons they get in the playoffs is they have an easy schedule. I think
Very
that's
easy.
one of
Yeah.
the reasons, and that's why I think they're going to be a round one exit. And so Eagles, gotta say it. Week one, CD Lamb catches that post route. Cowboys maybe beat the Eagles. You think this last week they don't have two block field goals? They lose the Rams. They're 1-2, and so I think just a few different plays go a different way. I think the Eagles aren't a 3-0 team. So those would be my two.
Okay. My most encouraging is Eagles, Bills, and Chargers. Least encouraging, um, probably be Bucks and 49ers.
Okay.
So Eagles. Yes, if CD Lamb, I mean, the whole. So I don't play that game. I don't do the whole like what if, what if, what if. Because if what if one of the offensive linemen made a block and Saquon goes for 50, like you could do
Mhm.
that with anything. I think the Eagles put themselves in that by playing this ultra conservative play not to lose thing, which could work against a shitty Dallas team and a shitty Chiefs team and stuff like that. You go up
Yeah.
against the Rams, you had to, and
Yeah.
we'll see what happens because I do think, and we'll get into this game. I don't want to get into this game too much, but like the Bucks are coming in pretty injured. They're pretty
Yeah.
handicapped on offense and stuff. So we'll see what Eagles comes out. But I really hope that something sparked them and enough. And what makes me think that it'll change a little bit is the players, like Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. These players are speaking out, and these are your like star players that like they're what they want, what they think, like that holds weight. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping they come out with a little bit more of a different aggressive mindset instead of just playing everything close to the vest. And look, they played it close to the vest and still won. He did. Jalen Hurts didn't throw for the yards that the other team that the other quarterbacks threw for, like Russell Wilson and Caleb Williams, but he had the higher completion percentage. Again, not throwing, but everything just so short. Like we'll just take what they give us. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's over. I'm hoping they're still 3-0. If you'd have told me before the season started, now granted, I didn't know that the Chiefs were going to be this bad this early, but if you'd have told me we're going to go into Arrowhead and get a win against a team that we saw in the Super Bowl and embarrassed, and they spent the whole offseason trying to get their get back, and then the Rams, who are also pissed off at you and everything else, like they're coming in and like if you'd have told me that we were going to start 3-0, I would have freaking took it, man. I
Yeah.
would have so took it. Um, the Bills, I think the Bills right now, um, I think Josh Allen is probably playing some of the best
Yeah.
football of anybody. Maybe him
Yeah.
and like Justin Herbert, but
And he's
like
not having to do everything for the football
yeah.
team. I think that's a good one as well.
And the Bucks.
Least inspiring.
Oh yeah. Oh, I
Okay.
said the who else did I say?
You said Bucks and Niners.
I said the Chargers were inspiring too. Yeah, they're just getting it done. Justin Herbert's doing well. Bucks and 49ers. You kind of covered the 49ers. I'm not going to get into it. The Bucks, they're a scrappy team. They're pulling these games out in the fourth quarter. But the teams they're playing are kind of like they just barely beat the Jets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to see more. That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, 0-3 teams. We have the Texans, Saints, Giants, Titans, Jets, and Dolphins.
Okay.
What is you most inspiring on this one?
I think the teams that could perhaps turn it around. Oh man, it's hard to look at some of those teams. Ooh. I mean, honestly, it's ugly. It's ugly. All five of those teams. I probably, if I was gonna pick one, I really only think there's one for me. I'd probably say Jets. I think they showed a lot of fight against a good Buccaneers team. I think that defense is really good, and I truthfully think Tyrod Taylor is an upgrade, at least throwing the ball wise over Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields, of course, is a more dynamic runner. There's no doubt about that. Way more physically talented when he comes to running the football, but I think that Tyrod Taylor has a chance to get Garrett Wilson going, and I think also outside of the Bills, I don't think that's a division that's necessarily inspiring. The Patriots are their defense right now is a mess. I mean, you look at the Dolphins; it's just I don't even know if Mike McDaniel's is going to make it through the season, and I don't even know if Tyreek Hill is going to be on the Dolphins next week. So I just think that the Jets are going to have some opportunities to pick up some wins, and I don't know if you can say they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be a decent, maybe 7-win kind of football team. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go Texans again. It's my preseason mind and bias working against me. I just feel like they'll turn it around again.
yeah,
Maybe go from 0-3 to being like at least a middle of the pack team somewhere. Um, I know people say I clown C.J. Stroud. It's just because his rookie year everybody made him out to be Peyton Manning, but like I still think he's good enough and that team's good enough to turn it around. That's just gonna be my
yeah,
thing.
I just worry about the O line
Yeah, no,
there
that's
in
fair. That's
Houston.
fair.
It's ugly.
All right, want to see if we can get through these game previews real
Yeah,
quick.
let's do it.
All right, Eagles at Bucks. It's an early start, early 1 o'clock start. Eagles are favored by 3.5. Who do you got from a cover standpoint?
Oof. I think the injuries right now in the Bucks, they're really adding up. Losing Mike Evans and Tristan Wirfs, really really big losses. I mean, so hard to root against, or I guess bet against Baker. You never know what could happen. Their new rookie Agbuka, he's the real deal. Still gonna have Bucky Irving, still gonna have a good run game, screen game. But I do like the Eagles, and I think I like the Eagles to cover too. I think maybe this last week was a wake up call against Los Angeles Rams. I think the Eagles realized that we can't play small ball and beat a lot of these teams in the
Yeah.
NFL. They're too good.
I agree.
So
I got Eagles covering as well, not just because I'm an Eagles fan, but the Bucks have been a house of horrors. Make sure you pronounce it horrors against the Eagles for a while, like including 2 playoff exits and everything else. I think the Eagles should be extra motivated. Keep in mind, this is week 4. We played them week 4 last year as well. The Eagles have not lost with Jalen Hurts starting and finishing games since the Bucks week 4 last year.
yeah,
So this marks exactly the year. So I think the Eagles should be extra motivated to come in there and get a win. The Bucks are handicapped as well. I like the Eagles to cover.
I like the Eagles win. I do like the Bucks to cover though. I think I'm gonna
Oh,
go.
you have the Bucks covering.
Yeah, I think I
Okay.
go Eagles 27, Bucks 24.
27-24. I got the Eagles 27, Bucks 20.
Okay.
So
Sounds
you
good.
got the Bucks covering. I got the Eagles covering.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
the Eagles straight up, but I think the Bucks do cover.
Packers at Cowboys. It's a Sunday night game. Packers favored 6.5.
I'm just saying, I think the Cowboys might have the worst secondary in all of the NFL.
Yes.
So I definitely like the Packers in this one. I think I like the Packers covering even at Dallas. I think the run game's gonna get going against the Cowboys. I think it's gonna open up the pass game. I don't know what Jordan Love's passing yards are right now, but I would totally take the over against this torn up Cowboys secondary that has the only, I guess recognizable and decent player in the past has been Trevon Diggs. I think I'm taking the Packers. I'm gonna say 28-14 over the Dallas Cowboys.
So Packers covering?
Yeah.
I got the Packers covering too. I'm thinking something more like, Packers 35, Cowboys 24.
Okay.
Nice
Yeah.
9-point win.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys will move the ball a little bit. That's a really talented offense. It really is.
I agree.
Is CD playing?
City's not. He's out for 3 to 4 weeks with the high ankle.
Ooh, I'm gonna do 30.
Pick
Packers
him.
35, Cowboys 20. I'll do
Okay,
that.
okay,
I, I almost had the Cowboys covering because I'm like, look, they're gonna be motivated too. Like they
Yeah.
don't want to be.
Yeah, they're 1-2.
But that defense, man, I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
And then no
It's ugly.
CD. So yeah, both got the Packers covering on that one.
It's ugly.
And then our game of the week, we're gonna do Rams, or Colts at Rams. Rams are favored by 3.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I think these are two really good teams. This is going to be a game of the week. It's going to be a really, really good game. Gosh, I think this game could go either way. I think giving the Colts that many points is too much. I think both these offenses are really good. I think both the defenses are pretty decent too. I think this is going to be a nail biter. I'm going to go gosh. I'm going to go Rams, but I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say 24-23 Rams. I think the Colts definitely cover in this game.
I got let's see. I gotta figure out how I got the Rams covering. I got 24-20. So you got the Colts covering.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I got the Rams covering. I think the Rams will win 24-20. So it'll be a barely cover. Rams are probably extremely. Oh, I don't know, because they could really, like, you lose a game like that.
Yeah.
One of two things are going to happen. Are they going to let the Eagles beat them twice, or
Yeah.
I think they'll be extra motivated. The Rams are a very good team, dude.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say 24-20 Rams win. They cover. All right, so that's our game previews. Next we'll go to fantasy bets. We'll just do the start 'em and sit 'em. Kind of
Yeah.
skip
Yeah,
the
that sounds good.
overachievers, underachievers since we're already over our 45. So last week stardom, I told you AJ Brown. Start AJ Brown. You're welcome.
Nice. Good pick.
You picked James Cook. He also did well.
Yeah, he
So
had a good game
AJ
too.
Brown had 6 receptions, 109 yards, and a touchdown. James Cook had 19 rushes, 108 yards, and a touchdown, and then 3 receptions for 10 yards. So you can thank us later. Our sit-em, I had Justin Herbert. He was 28 for 47 for 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So, and then you had sit Jared Goff. He was 20 for 28, 202 for 1 touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Decent game.
that was
Yeah.
I feel like you probably had other better options that did.
Especially in a 12-team league.
Yeah.
Something like
So, who's your stardom this week?
I think I'm going to stay on brand. I think Jordan Love, who really isn't most weeks seen as a QB1.
Anyone going
And,
against the Cowboys stardom?
Yeah, I think Jordan Love's going to have a great game. I don't know about the receivers because you just don't ever know which one's going to go off. But I think Jordan Love's just going to benefit from all those weapons and a weak Cowboys defense.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Who you got?
Man, who's the receivers on the Packers?
You got Wicks. Jaden Reed's out.
Wicks. Start Wicks.
Yeah, Wicks is probably he's the guy right
You
now.
know,
more than-
sometimes don't
There's
make
Matthew
it.
Golden too. the
Sometimes
rookie.
don't make it so hard. Like the Packers are going to score points. Because unless the Dallas does something, this defense, good gracious, man. I wanted to go somewhere else. Feel like I brought in some insight. I can't, dude. It's bad.
Yeah.
Your sit-ems.
Sit-ems. Couple that pop out to me right away. I think you Patrick Mahomes lovers out there, I think you got to sit Patrick Mahomes this week. I just think I think Justin's right. I think this Chiefs team is probably the 3rd best team in the AFC West. I think it's ugly right now. There's no weapons, and I'm not sure if Worthy returns this week. His only decent receiver right now is Tyquan Thornton. No run game. defense is decent, but I think you got to sit Mahomes. I just don't think that there's any way they keep up with the Baltimore Ravens. And I think this is a big revenge game for Baltimore. They just got woken up by the Detroit Lions. Of course, Baltimore, they've always had this history with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I think the Baltimore is going to come in motivated and ready to kick some butt. So I'd sit Patrick Mahomes.
I'm going to make a surprising one. I would sit Indiana Jones this week.
Okay.
Against
the Rams,
when I do the sit-ems, I try to think of people who would typically start this person, and he's been doing so good. Danny Dimes. Against the Rams, they're so fast with that pass rush. Their defense is so underrated, I think, in a lot of ways. I can see Jared Verse and Jared, right? Jared Verse.
Yep, Jared Verse.
And these guys just teeing off. I can see him coming a little bit back down to earth.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, that's it. That's week 4, but second episode of our podcast.
Yep.
I think we did a little bit better this time, and we're just going to get better and better as we go on.
Yep.
Let us know what we screwed up in the comments. And again, you can listen to us anywhere on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the like. Make sure to give us a follow, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.